Hi, my name is Serena Shippey. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, even if it's an emoji, so that we can put Black people like me on the YouTube page and algorithm. So yeah, period. Also, it's Black History Month. We love to see it. Happy Negro Month. It's also my birthday month. I love that for me, like born in Black History Month. Phenomenal. I think that's perfect timing personally. People who are born in February, we love to see it. Pisces, Aquarius, check in, purr. Anyways, I'm actually talking about a Black topic today, so it's kind of ironic, but when am I not talking about Black people? Not to say that that's all I talk about, but I do talk about Black people a lot. Today, I want to talk about Black women and why we should be basic. There's been a trend going around on TikTok where usually like Black women, Black femmes, Black non-binary people get really pretty. Like they'll put on makeup and then they'll like stand and then they'll stare at the camera and look pretty and just like pose or whatever. And there's an audio that basically says, I should be able to like get likes and comments just for being pretty.
It's high time we let Black women on this app also be famous for doing the bare minimum. Like, I should be able to just sit here in silence and let y'all look at me, and the next thing you know, I have 1 million followers.
And I was thinking about that. I was really like thinking about the idea of like, oh, I should be able to do the bare minimum as a like Black woman or Black femme presenting person and receive just as much likes as Charlie D'Amelio. If she were to stand in the camera for 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure she'd get like thousands of likes for that. And it made me realize that like Black women aren't afforded the luxury of simplicity or basicness. And I think that's basically what I'm unpacking today. Why do Black women, femmes, Black non-binary people, why are they not afforded the luxury of simplicity? Like, why do we always have to go above and beyond just to get the same amount of likes as a white person who may not be doing anything, quite frankly? And that's not a bad thing. And it's not a bad thing to, you know, be basic. It's not a bad thing to not be extra or razzle dazzle, but I do think it's problematic that there's an expectation that Black femme presenting people must excel at everything just to get the same amount of likes as their white counterparts who don't do that or who do the bare minimum. That is a problem. I feel like, you know, Black content creators, Black femmes specifically, should be able to be basic and get the same amount of following. Like, that is a problem. So I was thinking about that and I was like, I kind of want to dive into it. So this is like my theory as to why this is the case. And also, I'd like to thank T Noir. I mentioned T Noir in my last video about my top 10 favorite Black YouTube content creators. And the reason why I'd like to thank her, she uses she, they pronouns, is because I was kind of inspired by the way that they create their videos and really break it down and, you know, really explain their theories, their ideas, philosophies as to why things are the way they are. And I just wanted to do that, you know, like I love doing that in general. Like in my personal life, I'll talk to my friends about why I believe constructs are the way they are. So I just thought this was an interesting thing to look at because it's become like a kind of like a TikTok trend to do that, and I like it. And as I said in my other video as well, I like seeing Black femmes just existing, or Black people in general just existing, like the documentation of Black life. Black people should get as much praise for existing as white people get praise for just existing or doing the bare minimum. And I think it's beautiful to be able to engage in Black life in that way, to just see it documented. Like, for example, there's this TikToker, I forgot what her TikTok is. If I figure it out, I'll put it in, but I really don't remember. But she like impersonates Black mothers and she posts them on TikTok. She's like TikTok famous for that, but she'll like imitate like Black mothers in certain situations, like when you go to someone's house and it's time to leave and your like mom is talking to her like best friend and you guys take forever to leave the house, like stuff like that. Like she'll document that conversation, she'll imitate the conversation and post it on TikTok and get like hundreds of likes for that. And I love that. Like, I think that's an act of preserving like Blackness, and in this specific case, Black Southern American culture for her TikTok specifically. So I just think that's really interesting. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video and kind of go just delve into my thought process of why I believe Black women should have the privilege of being basic and what that means. So I kind of wanted to start the video with why Black women are not allowed to be basic, or why Black femmes and non-binary people are not allowed the privilege to relax or to not do the bare minimum. I think, as always, everything goes back to slavery. Everything always goes back to slavery. When slavery was made illegal and when Black men became the most common demographic that were put in jail and still are today, Black women were then forced to take up the mantle in the household. So, you know, cook, clean, but also earn money, because Black men are disproportionately in jail. So those are a lot of quote unquote broken homes. I don't like that. I don't like that example, as if like single Black women households are a broken home, but I do understand why it's seen that way. Like, imagine you marry someone and then one day to the next, now they're in jail and now you're forced to take care of your kids on your own, alone. Like, that is hard for anybody. So I guess I kind of understand like why people say broken homes, but I don't like the connotation that it might mean that like Black women are incapable of, or Black femmes are incapable of running a home on their own, because they are. And that's coming from someone who has a single mother, and my mother did a great job raising me alone. But I do also understand like that kind of is broken. Like, this person was taken from you without your say. Maybe that wasn't your intention. Maybe your intention was to marry someone and raise your children together, and then from one day to the next, they're taken away. So we all know that Black men are disproportionately in jail. So that creates a lot of households where there's single mothers then forced to work, cook and clean, raise children, and essentially be the definition of a single mother. So I actually looked online at this statistic, and I was like, I shouldn't be surprised, but some part of me still was surprised. But they did a study of single mothers and economic backgrounds compared to like other racial demographics, and 67.9, which is almost 70% of Black mothers are single. So that's like 70% of Black mothers who are operating in a single family household, and only 33.2% are married, compared to their white counterparts where 70% are married and are running a family together, have a family unit, the nuclear family unit. I'm assuming this is a straight data set. I don't really think that there's like queer marriage in here. I'm not quite sure. This study was taken from 1979 to 2015, but that's a major difference. Like, 70% of white families usually are married, and 67.3% of single mothers operating a household. So there's already this idea of, you know, I, as a single mother, Black woman, I have to run the house, I have to feed the kids, I have to do this, I have to do everything, right? So now there's this societal pressure because, again, you know, Black men are being taken from homes as a result of the prison industrial complex. That's my theory in terms of like the broken home thing. Like, I think that's my theory, that why there are so many single mothers. Correct, I could be wrong, but I genuinely believe that's like the major reason why that percentage, there's such a large percentage, or a large difference between like white family households and Black single mother households. As a result of this phenomenon of like Black men, you know, oftentimes being taken away, or for whatever reason are no longer in the household, it becomes a stereotype of the single Black mother. Like, that's something that's very common in our society, and that's like a big, I guess I would say, motif or thing that's really common. So now I feel like it created this expectation that Black women can do everything. And I feel like that's a lot of pressure. Like, I have to be a single mother, take care of my kids, but I also have to work simultaneously. And I feel like that became the standard to expect from Black women from a societal perspective, but it also became the standard for themselves. So now I believe Black women are like, oh my God, I have to take care of everything around me. There's no option for failure because I don't have anyone else or anywhere else to go to. All at the same time, society doesn't necessarily value our opinions or value our livelihoods, our careers. So we're kind of like stuck in this box of, I have to be successful because failure is not an option. So now society sees me as essentially superhuman, but also discredits me all the time as a result of me being a black woman. So there's like this, you're kind of stuck in like this middle of your own pressure and society's expectation of you. So as a result of that, success becomes the only answer. So you can't fail, but people are constantly undermining you. So I think that's where the strong black woman ideology came from. So black women were put in this position where they have to work, they have to take care of the kids, which means that they have to excel in their jobs in corporate America. So now society, and I think black women as well, prided themselves in that. They were like, "Oh, I'm the strong black woman. I can do everything. I can do anything." But that stereotype is really limiting because it operates under the assumption that black women can't be vulnerable, that we must do it all, that there's no option for failure, that we don't need help. And then society piggybacks on that. It's like, look, the strong black woman, oh my God, she can handle it all. Like they can do it all. She doesn't need help. And on the outside looking in, it looks cool. It looks amazing. Like, oh my God, black women, we're superheroes. But if you actually look into that, that's not a positive connotation. Like, no one is superhuman. Everyone needs help. And if you compare that to a white woman, the connotation that comes with that, with a white woman's fragility, society sees white women as fragile, delicate, gentle. They do need help. They do need assistance, which is really a limiting point of view, but you're still in some way allowed to receive help. Whereas black women are seen as like, oh, they can handle it all. We don't need to help them. All while at the same time, people constantly underestimate us. So that's a really hard box to be placed in. The best explanation I can give of the strong black woman trope is there was a lead study by Amani M. Allen, which was published in the Annals of the New York Academy of Sciences. And she basically conducted a study on the strong black woman and what it meant. And she defined it as the Superwoman Schema includes 5 elements: feeling an obligation to present an image of strength, feeling an obligation to suppress emotions, resistance to being vulnerable, a drive to succeed despite limited resources, and feeling an obligation to help others. So you're basically expected to be a superhuman while receiving little to no support because society expects you to excel even though they don't support you. Like, how are you supposed to excel in an environment where you receive no help? Everyone needs help. So that's kind of why the strong black woman stereotype is actually harmful, because everyone needs help. So the idea that black women inherently don't need help because they've been through trials and tribulations is a really limiting belief. Like, oh, their lives are so hard because, you know, they're operating as a black woman in the world, so they don't need help. That's not the flex that you think it is. Like, that's actually really limiting and quite saddening. Everyone needs help. Everyone should be seen as a human being. That's essentially glorifying a human being and saying that they're above us, or that they don't need help, or that, you know, they've been through it all, so thus we don't need to help them anymore. That's not endearing. That's not positive. That's not charming. It's actually incredibly hurtful and continues this narrative of like black women are emotionless, or that they're not human, or that they don't need help. So as a result of single black women essentially being forced to get a job and also help the children because there was no one else to do it for them, it created this strong black woman stereotype. And I feel like this ties in to everyday black women who don't even have kids, or who are younger, or who are teenagers, because now there's this expectation of, as a black woman, as a black femme, as a black non-binary individual, you must excel. There's no other option. People won't help you because there's this assumption that you will excel, but all at the same time people are underestimating you because you are a black woman. So I feel like it's I think it's a radical act that, you know, black women our age are now being like, no, I should be able to be basic and enjoy being basic, or I should be able to live life as my age at 19 and be credited for that. I think that's beautiful because for such a long time we've been expected to excel or be the top of the class or be the number one CEO in the company in order to be taken seriously. But even when we do reach those positions, people still don't help us because there's this assumption of, well, she's a strong Black woman, so she doesn't need help. It doesn't really matter. She's in this position, so it doesn't really matter. Like, that's not fun for anyone. That's a big burden to carry, that you must do everything on your own. Another thing I failed to mention is that society's pressure on Black women to be perfect and excellent and amazing then becomes so powerful that other people ask us to save them. For example, there's this tweet of these like white celebrities, blue checkmark Twitter, saying that Black women would save us. And that definitely originates from this stereotype that Black women are superheroes, and that Black women will fix everything. And quite frankly, that stereotype is used by white people to help solve racism. Like, they're using that stereotype of, oh my God, we're amazing. Can you solve racism for us now? Like, we're amazing, right? And again, on the outside looking in, it looks nice, it feels pleasing, but when you actually look at what is being said and what they're asking us to do, they're asking us to perform labor as a result of this unrealistic expectation that we're perfect or amazing or superhuman. So that's why I believe Black women are then like expected to constantly outperform their white counterparts, and that becomes the norm. So people don't give us the views, the clicks, the attention, the money, the capital, unless we're always at 100. Unless every single thing, every video, every piece of work that you produce is above and beyond, then you get credited. But even though you get the credit, it's the same level of credit as your white counterpart who's doing the bare minimum. Like, that's not okay. So I feel like I encourage more Black women to be basic. I encourage more Black femmes to just exist and be okay with that. Like, your validation does not come from being strong, superhero, because you are not your work, you are not your product, you are not what you produce. You should be able to exist, and that should be enough.
Period. 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 Period.
And if you do want to go above and beyond, I'm not saying that Black women shouldn't go above and beyond. Of course, they should and they will. But make sure that you're doing it for you and not for white validation. Or make sure you're resting and you're not doing 100% all the time or every single day, because that's unsustainable. We are not superhuman. Like, that's impossible. We are human. So I encourage this trend of I should be pretty and just sit there and get clicks and views for being basic, because our white counterparts do the same thing and get thousands of dollars or get reality TV shows like the Kim Kardashians. I call them the KKK members because that's a whole nother video. But yeah, I genuinely believe that Black women should be afforded the same opportunities for staring at a camera and being pretty as their white counterparts do. And being a superhuman is unsustainable, because eventually you're going to burn out. So don't bother being a superhuman at all. But yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my video. Calm and cute, short and calm, cute and short, calm and cute. But I just hope that this becomes a greater trend where Black people are kind of just able to receive the same amount of attention, money, business growth, because they're authentic to who they are, instead of feeling like they need to be at the top of their class in order to receive opportunities. You shouldn't have to be at the top of everything in your life just to get opportunities. You should be able to get opportunities as a result of your authenticity or what you're putting out there. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for all my Black femmes out there, for anybody watching in general, and yeah.
Time we let Black women on this app also be famous for doing the bare minimum. Like, I should be able to just sit here in silence and let y'all look at me, and the next thing you know, I have 1 million followers.
Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.